The door was half open. That was the first detail my mind recorded. Not the sound, not the rhythm of the mattress, not her voice. The door. I was in my wheelchair at the end of the hallway, a forgotten monument to what I used to be. The house was quiet except for the low, intimate laughter leaking from our bedroom. Our bedroom. I moved closer without meaning to. The wheels didn't make a sound. Years of practice, years of invisibility. Then I heard her. At least he can still perform. A pause. A soft, cruel laugh. Your fingers are as dead as your career. My brother didn't respond. He didn't need to. His breathing was answer enough. I didn't burst in. I didn't shout. I didn't cry. I simply watched through the narrow slit of the door. Two silhouettes tangled in sheets I paid for. My wife's hand running across the back of the only man who shared my blood. I felt something crack inside me. Not my heart. Something colder. Calculation replacing shock. Observation replacing pain. I reversed the chair slowly. Quietly. If they wanted a cripple, I would give them one. For now. The accident had been 3 years earlier. A crushed hand. Severed nerves. The surgeons were polite when they told me the truth. You'll never play professionally again. For a concert pianist, that is a death sentence spoken gently. My wife stayed. Or so I thought. She became attentive, protective, soft-spoken around guests. She answered questions for me. He's adjusting. No, I was disappearing. My brother started visiting more often. He brought wine, laughter, stories about business deals and gym, sessions and women who flirted with him. He looked at me with pity, the worst expression a man can offer another. I noticed small things after that night. Her phone tilted away from me when she texted. His car parked 2 blocks away instead of in the driveway. Whispers that ended when I entered the room. But I never confronted them, because confrontation is emotional, and emotions are inefficient. Instead, I replayed her sentence in my mind. Your fingers are as dead as your career. She believed that. They both did. They thought the accident had finished me. What they didn't know, I had been practicing alone, in a rented studio downtown under a different name, a new technique. Painful, slow, every tendon screaming as I retrained my fingers. The doctors were wrong. Or maybe they just underestimated obsession. I let my wife think I struggled with buttons and forks. I let my brother open jars for me. At night, I flexed my fingers in the dark, feeling sensation crawl back like a returning ghost. They weren't betraying a broken man. They were mocking a man who was rebuilding. That was their mistake. I didn't expose them. Not yet. Instead, I called an old contact at Carnegie Hall. 3,000 seats. A charity gala, 1 surprise performance slot. My name still carried weight in certain circles. Tragedy makes people nostalgic. I marketed it carefully. The return. My wife was confused when the invitation arrived. You're attending? She asked. I'm performing, I said. She smiled. The kind of smile you give a child who insists he can fly. That's brave. Brave. My brother offered to help me up the stairs that evening. I declined. Behind the scenes, my hands trembled. Not from weakness. From fury contained too long. I had practiced one piece. Obsessively. Rachmaninoff. Demanding. Merciless. It requires control. Speed. Dominance. Exactly what they thought I no longer possessed. The night before the concert, I rolled past our bedroom again. Door closed this time. I didn't need proof anymore. I had heard enough. Seen enough. What fascinated me wasn't their affair. It was their confidence. They believed I was powerless. Power isn't about legs, or even hands. It's about timing. Backstage at Carnegie Hall, the lights dimmed. My wife sat in the front row beside my brother. She wore red. He wore arrogance. The announcer spoke my name. A murmur passed through the audience. They expected tragedy, nostalgia, a broken man attempting dignity. An assistant rolled me onto the stage. The piano waited under white light. I placed my hands on the keys. Paused. 3 seconds of silence. Then I stood up. Slowly. Gasps rippled through the hall. My wife's face drained of color first. My brother leaned forward, confused. And then I played. Perfectly. Every note struck with precision. Every crescendo controlled. My fingers moved like they had never been injured. Like they had never been doubted. The music filled the hall. Not emotional. Dominant. Unforgiving. I didn't look at them. I didn't need to. When the final chord thundered into silence, the audience erupted. 3,000 people on their feet. I finally allowed myself one glance. My wife was crying. Not from pride, from fear, because she understood. Her words had been wrong. My fingers were not dead, and neither was I. After the standing ovation, I returned home alone. They arrived an hour later. She burst through the door first. How long? Her voice shook. 3 years, I said. My brother couldn't meet my eyes. You knew? He asked quietly. Yes. Silence pressed against the walls. I wanted you both comfortable, I continued. Overconfident. She stepped toward me. It meant nothing. It meant everything, I replied calmly. I slid a folder across the table. Bank statements, property deeds, divorce papers. The house was no longer in her name. Nor would it ever be again. I transferred assets months ago, I said. You were too distracted to notice. She collapsed into a chair. My brother finally spoke. You're overreacting. I almost smiled. No, I said. I'm concluding. They hadn't destroyed me. They had funded my rebirth, public sympathy, donations, investors after the concert announcement. My comeback was already global news. Their affair had been a private insult. My return was a public execution. I moved out a week later, not into another apartment, into a different life. Interviews, tours, contracts. My wife called 43 times the first night. My brother sent a single message. We can fix this. No, they mistook endurance for weakness. They mistook silence for surrender. What they never understood. I wasn't sitting in that wheelchair because I had no power. I was waiting. And when I stood up on that stage, I didn't just reclaim my career. I erased them. Some betrayals demand rage. This one required patience. The last time I saw her, she looked at my hands. Not with love. With regret. I flexed my fingers once, perfectly steady, and walked away without turning back. Because the cruelest revenge isn't destruction. It's proving they were wrong about you all along.